Yeah, if you're going to go make the next, Lord of the Rings, then go to Red and get an 8K camera. Okay, I get it. But if you're a young student or someone just wanting to do a film or tell a story, get your iPhone out.
Hello everybody, we're here for a video. My name is Tomás Mateis. We're here with David Basulto from iOgrapher.
The fact that you're Latino,
yes.
No one else knows how to say my name. So.
That's right? But we're bilingual. That's great. Show us your product.
Okay, let's take a look at the new. So no one's seen this yet actually, but it's the new iPad Pro, which of course Apple made. Has the 9.7 inch has 4K capability. So we went and made a new case for it, and it's going to be an awesome thing. In fact, I'm going to walk around later and film a bunch of interviews myself. So let's take a look at, where's the Pro case, Mia? It's next to me. Hello, I'm not awake yet. So this is the iPad Pro, and the whole thing behind the iOgrapher is the fact that the handles. There was nothing out there before. People were making cases for iPhones and iPads that were just little cases to hold it. And then so you're back to doing this. So what's the whole point of it? So I said, we got to have handles. So we made handles on it. On the top, we put cold shoes, so if you want to add, for example, I've got a transmitter here for a wireless Rode mic. And might I say really quick, the Rode microphone guys were people that got it right away. They saw this trend, and they've been making great products to support audio in this field, whereas some of the other bigger brands, and I won't mention them, but they're name brands, really have kind of poo-pooed it. And I'm like, there's a lot more of these out there than there are broadcast cameras.
Absolutely. I want to say that some of the Rode mics, that even the ones that don't have like a battery in them and no powering, which is very convenient, they can power from the iPad and from the iPhone. So that's a feature that it sounds small, like why don't you have just a battery in your mic? But then you have to turn it on, turn it off. Remember to have battery, and if you don't have audio.
Right.
So that feature alone, you have a device that has battery. Why can't I get power from that from my microphone? And Rode got it right.
Yeah. But so this is the new Pro. It's gonna come out in October. It's $69.95. You can put it's on the bottom. It's got a quarter 20 for any kind of. All of our cases have that for any kind of tripod, and this one has 2 quarter 20s on each side. So one of the things we like to do is we'll put maybe 2 more lights here, and now you got a 3-light kit. So if you're interviewing somebody or whatever, you've got this great light. You can also put your zoom right here. I mean, you can do a ton of things. So we wanted to.
Why do I have to wait until October?
You don't, because we know each other now, so we'll talk off camera. But it just takes time to really to make it right. Every product that we make is specific for its device itself. People are always asking, well, can you make something that does like the phone and the iPad? And I'm like, no, that's multiple. That's like moving parts. Moving parts break. They cost more money to make. I wanted to make this super affordable, especially for schools, which is our bread and butter. And so we make everything specific for the device. So it's nice and snug in there. It's never going to fall out. And
one thing I love about your product is that as a videographer, once we moved to DSLRs, and we all did because of the quality, the cinematic look of the DSLR cameras for video was so much better than what was out there with the DV cameras and all those DV cams. But we lost the size, right? And that size will give us. We didn't like the weight, but we certainly did like the stability that shoulder mount or camera mount will give you. And this brings us back to that, like big size.
It's all about stability,
right?
I mean, you've got to be
the steady cams, they're big, not just because they can be smaller, they could, but you need that stability. So when people are asking, like, why will you shoot video with an iPad, such a big thing? Well, if I have these handles, then that gives me like perfect smooth stability, and I can do pans. I can slide, I can go up and down, and it really brings a lot of what we lost when we go in for the small size back into the game. So that's awesome.
So like if you have a GoPro, or you have any of the smaller cameras, like I just got a Blackmagic Micro Cinema camera because we have a product called the iOgrapher Go that fixes action cameras. But any little, just if you're holding it in your hand, any tiny move is a giant move in the camera.
Exactly.
And people don't understand that. So. Anyway,
and the thing is, me as a videographer, I know how to hold my phone because I know the limitations of it.
Yeah.
But people because I've been doing this for 2 decades.
Right.
But people who are new to the industry, they don't need to understand why you should hold this phone this way or that way. But if you give them handles, they're gonna grab them by the handles, and just by doing that,
It's natural.
the stabilization of the shot is going to be much better. So it's just you went the right way. Tell us, David. I know your brand. I love your brand. I think your vision for where videography is going in the right direction. Tell the audience a little bit about what is Biographer, how you guys came out with this idea.
So I, prior to all of this, I was just a mild-mannered high school media teacher in Southern California, and I had 130 students. I had 3 cameras that were DSLRs in the classroom. I had 2 broadcast cameras, and we were never getting enough work done. So I started to let them use their mobile devices because I saw they shot great video. And what I was getting back was a lot of shaky footage and portrait view, and audio is horrible, and the lighting. And so I go, there's got to be another way. And I started to tinker around in the classroom with some drawings. And I would show my top students, what do you think about this? If we used it for an iPad, like a case that you'd had handles on both sides, and for stability, we put on a tripod, blah, 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 blah. And we came to this conclusion that this was a cool thing. I did a 3D print of it as a work for a prototype, just to play it for myself. I had no ambition to do any of this. So we made a 3D print. It cost me $200 to make it. It came back in.
What year was this?
This was about 4 years ago now. And so it came back to me. It was a place in New York called Shapeways that you send a file.
I love Shapeways. Big shout out to Shapeways. They're awesome.
Shapeways is great. So they sent back the prototype, and we popped it in, and all of a sudden it was working. And I was like, this is fantastic. And I was just using the classroom. And around that time was when the NAB show in Las Vegas. And I used to go every year, and I'd take my top student, and she or he would interview people, and I would film it, and they would bring their parents, and it was a great thing. And this particular year, I said, I'm going to film only with my iPad, with this new thing I have. So I went walking around, and we were filming, and these 4 guys start following me everywhere. And it turned out that they were Apple engineers. And they were like, we need to know everything about what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And that just formed a really great relationship with Apple. They've been Apple Education. Apple has been behind us 100% since day one. So I took that product, and I did a Kickstarter. My kids told me about Kickstarter. Had no idea what Kickstarter was. I'm like, oh.
This is awesome. I'm loving everything about this story.
And so we did the Kickstarter, and then we all of a sudden I get this email from Forbes magazine. They want to do an interview with me and Mashable, and long story short, we raised our financing. So now I got my money. And I'm like, what the hell am I? I'm a high school teacher. What am I doing now? What's the next thing? So, what I ended up doing was asking around. How do I make these things? I didn't know how to make these things. So, luckily, one of the parents I had was a injection molding company owner. One of her kids. My mom does this thing. Really?
This is great.
So we got that going, and they were going to make it there, and then another parent came to me and said, hey, I love what you're doing. He's been friends with me for a long time. I taught 2 of his kids, and he says, I love what you're doing. Why don't you let me write you a big check and be your partner? And so he is actually a senior executive at Disney by day. And an
iOgrapher, angel investor by night. I love it.
So we started this company, and we had the iPad mini, and that was it. And now we're almost 4 years later, and we were on 1,000 Best Buy stores. We have, I want to say, 16 of our own design products. Our website sells 84 SKUs, and it's just been, from people like Steven Spielberg have one, the Boston Celtics use them, the Miami Dolphins, Manchester United, schools around the world in the country, and it's just mind-boggling to me. So I really have just believe that it's all about telling stories, and it's the best camera you have in your pocket. So let's make it even better. Let's add great audio with it. Let's add great, lenses. Let's do some fun stuff with it and tell stories.
You guys saw the vision where now we have these amazing cameras in our pockets. Everybody, not just me, who I'm a videographer. Now everybody has these amazing cameras, and we think, oh, I want to do video. Oh, I need a camera and lights and microphones and everything and the whole thing and education. Mm-hmm. But really, it's just about just click that upload button. You can easily click record, click upload, and you are already, broadcasting to the whole entire world. So you guys saw that vision, and you really went for it. It's okay, what can we give to these, students? In your case, they were your students. They have the cameras. The school only had 3 cameras, and the students all have one in their pocket. Why are we not using those?
Right.
How we get those cameras to be to work in the way that we need them
Right.
to actually be able to produce the quality of content that they can produce.
Right.
So it's great.
And like I said, we're all storytellers, and now you have I mean, my son is 8. He does little stop motion videos. He tells little stories. But I mean, I was playing in the dirt when I was 8. I didn't have toys like that, So who's going to be the next Steven Spielberg or Coppola or whatever? The next television personality or newscaster or get them start. Look how early you could start now and start doing stuff. It was not realistic when I was little. So.
Of course, that's actually how Steven Spielberg started. He was doing little movies with his little toys and earthquakes and things like that, bombs with dropping dirt. So he was playing in the dirt doing movies as well.
He had tools like this. What? Oh my God!
The things, and that's what we're going to be seeing. The creatives like Steven Spielberg back in the day now have the tools to actually put up in a movie that can be in a film festival, right? So that's amazing. That's great.